always fun, crazy. It's painful, but it's wonderful. What is the name?
It's Reusse Unchained.
All right, Patrick, how big of a sigh of relief do you think that there was when the Vikings actually went into Detroit and won a game? Do you know that that is the first time that they have that Kevin O'Connell has won in Detroit? And furthermore, do you know that the last time the Vikings had a losing streak this long against the Lions was from the Vikings expansion?
Oh, yeah, the early. I don't think we beat them till '66 or something, right? The first few years, Detroit was the team that bumped them all the time. It was,
Were they?
and they came in. Yeah, Detroit. Detroit was, fairly good back then. And I remember that when Van Brocklin thought he had it going one year, they got clobbered by them, in maybe '64 or something. Yeah, the Lions were. But you know what else? In 1966, when they were going to divisions, the guy in Detroit, the coach, the guy running the Detroit team, was the most adamant in trying to get the Vikings in a different division. He didn't.
Really?
They didn't want. They didn't. They wanted the Vikings to get in some other division because I think they saw the was 67, maybe 67, and they saw Alan Page had gotten drafted, I think, and they saw the defense coming. So Russ Thomas, who was
Yeah.
Bill Ford's drinking buddy and the general manager, and they were the ones that didn't want to go in with Chicago, Green Bay, and blah blah blah. So
Where'd they want to go?
they wanted the Vikings to go somewhere else, out
Okay.
west or something. They wanted to still play Detroit and Chicago, but
Okay.
they didn't want the Vikings in the same division. That was the legend anyway. When they merged with so when did the merger become complete? Because the
Seven,
first
70, right?
Yeah, so okay, it was then. So the Vikings defense was already well established and they were good. And I'm not sure. I think it might have been the meetings in '69 before the season when they were determining what it would look like the next season,
Yep.
1970, that they were lobbying to get us out of there. So
So So the Lions beat the Vikings. Get this: the Lions beat the Vikings the first 5 times they played. The Vikings finally beat them by 3 points on November the 23rd, 1963, which was a couple days after the
okay.
Kennedy assassination.
Yeah, that's right. And the NFL took incredible heat for playing after the
Yeah.
Kennedy assassination. They were the only thing that didn't shut down in the country, and the NFL. I think Roselle later said that was one of his biggest
Yeah.
mistakes that they played then, but anyway, yeah, the Lions didn't. The Lions had the foresight to know the Vikings were going to be really good, and they did not want them in the division. But since then, I mean, Bud would not be. I always said, Mike Tice was not remembered as the most successful coach we ever had. Chile was not considered the most successful. They were a combined 16-1 against the Detroit Lions. Those two guys. So you know that was that they were always the patsies, and the fact that Campbell is the coach that turned it around and made him a power is just still blows my mind because I've said 10 times that when I saw him on action and having that first good year and gambling all the time, I said, this guy's going to be one of the great burnouts in history.
Eh,
So far, he's been pretty good, but I wonder if behind the scenes he throws tantrums for his team because that performance had to really disgust him on Sunday.
Oh,
Coming off a
absolutely.
bye week too, coming off a bye week, and they'd gotten now they lost some players during the game. They got some guys hurt during the game, but I think they had their secondary back too, right? Most of those injuries.
They had
So
most of them, not all of them, but they
they
had a
were terrible. They couldn't protect it all.
nope.
Man alive. I mean, everybody's got J.J. McCarthy fever, and he was certainly better, but the defense won that game for the Vikings. The idea that they came in and as terrible as they'd been against the run, and
Yep.
held the Lions to 65 yards rushing, and the Lions are the best rushing team in the league with the two-pronged rushing game. I mean, did Gibbs get hurt, or they just thought he was ineffective, or what? He had the fumble, and they were.
No, that
He,
was Montgomery had the fumble. Gibbs couldn't pick up pass protection, and I
okay,
guess he's not
yeah.
good at it. But I mean, they. My question is this to the Vikings defense: where did that come from? And
I don't know.
Are Blake Cashman, who's been back now for a few games, and Van Ginkel just that
Van,
important?
I
That looked
think
like an
Van
entirely
Ginkel.
different team, Pat.
Oh God, it was, and I think Van Ginkel maybe does make that much difference because when Grenard had been good, right? Grenard had been really good, but it's
Yeah, he's been. Yep.
kind of as the Lone Ranger. Well, now you got both of them back, and then Eric Wilson is turned into a what a player he's turned into. I mean, they got him back for free basically, and he's him and Cashman in the middle there. That was pretty good, but it was. So now is that it, or is Lamar going to come in and kick their rear end in a couple of weeks? Do we have any idea?
It's a
Because
crazy league, Pat. It's a
it's
crazy.
a
I have
crazy
no
league.
clue what's going to happen
No, I
anymore.
mean the Packers. I said this. The Packers last week. Jordan Love, 20 straight completions,
I know.
and everybody says they got the third. The third legend is now. They've gone from Favre to Rodgers to Jordan Love. Three legends, and then they stink it out at home and get beat by a rotten team and score 13 points. And that is more shocking than the Vikings going in and beating the Lions. I mean, it's a shock that the Vikings did that.
Yes.
That was Vikes were what, nine and a half, nine and a
By
half point
by
underdogs.
kickoff, the Vikes were 9.5, which is the most either way in the O'Connell era. But the
Yeah.
Packers were 13.5. They're basically 2 touchdown favorites.
Wow. Yeah.
So
What
you're
a.
right. Way more.
Yeah.
It was more
Yeah.
shocking.
And meanwhile, the Bears, who go out and give up two touchdown lead in 43 seconds. End up then throwing a 58-yard pass to win the game, and so it was a goofy day in the NFC Central. That's North, excuse me. I still call it the NFC
Do you
Central,
think
but
the league
North.
has gotten goofier? Like it might be because we just saw this, but every week it feels like, to your point, you have no clue for the most part.
No, I think a lot of it now. In this case, I'm not sure it was, but I think a lot of it's injuries too. That
Mm-hmm.
we maybe don't take enough account in for either getting people back or losing people, right? I
Yeah.
mean, sometimes you watch a team and they're terrible, and then you realize that the Vikings were playing without Darisaw or O'Neal and Van Ginkel. They're a different team. So that's now who plays next time. That's the deal. If both the tackles are going to play, then then the kid quarterback's in pretty good shape. He's gonna get a lot better protection than poor Carson Wentz was getting 2 weeks ago when he almost got killed. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It is goofy as can be, and but it was it is funny to go back. I'm sure that the boys on the airplane coming back and all the stuff that have been written about him during the week and everything. I mean, it's not as much what's written about him anymore as what's said about him, on social media and everywhere else. And, pack it in for the season. They aren't going anywhere. It had to be a fun little quick plane ride back to Minnesota. Talking about what idiots everybody was by writing them off. What were they? The odd. This is another example, by the way, of the ESPN crawls and everything giving you odds of what's going to happen. Right? The Vikings. What? We're down to 6% making the playoffs. Now what are they? 50%?
I no,
You know?
who knows? What my
Yeah.
my favorite is that they do the same thing for like the Timberwolves right now. That's my favorite.
Yeah. Right.
So the
Yeah. Whether
fluctuation is
yes.
good week 80%, bad
Yes.
week you're down to
Yeah,
2%.
and I think people must read that crap when it goes across the bottom of the screen there or something. And you know who else? The guys writing stories for AP and stuff like that are throwing that in there too. The Vikings only had a 5% chance to make the playoffs. Blah blah blah. So yeah, it was a stunning performance to say the least. And JJ, we know one thing he can do. If you're down near the goal line and you give him a little space out on the right or sideline, he can run into the end zone for a touchdown.
Yes.
And win the game for you. He did that. That was the only thing he did. And I love people saying, and all that stuff about he only played one good quarter out of 8. Well, he only did play one good quarter out of 8. So that's not like something people made up. He
No.
played terrible, and now he played pretty good. So we'll see. But they didn't really give him a horrible amount of responsibility. Although the 16-yard pass to win the game was his best play of the day. I thought, didn't you?
Oh
You know,
yeah, but I also.
otherwise you're punting back to them, and they might go down. And
Oh God, yeah.
so,
Can
yeah,
can you explain to me though why O'Connell didn't run the ball at the goal line to eat clock there at the end before that? You know they got a field goal late. The Vikings did, right?
yeah, yeah,
And he's trying to one. I believe on second down he tried to pass. On third down he
yeah,
rolled out McCarthy, and there wasn't room. It's just like run the ball up the middle. Even if you don't make it, you're eating substantial clock off. Time
yeah,
off the clock.
yeah. I don't know. I think he was gonna, at his heart, he likes to pass.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah, yeah, he likes touchdowns. So yeah. So now it's a 180 reversal. I mean, the whole week. Compared to, last week, Minnesota sports were a disaster. Like, I mean, it's awful. Everybody stinks.
I
This
know.
week, hey, the Wild, they finally picked it up and blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. And the Wolves they turned it around. Now they won again last night. So, and, playing a winless team, by the way, that they were made a battle out of last night. Brooklyn, right? They hadn't won a game, right?
Brooklyn, yeah, you name me more than like one Nets
Oh
player,
yeah.
and I'll be impressed. I'm watching that. I'm like,
What are they
who?
doing? This is about the fifth, about the third or fourth time they did a complete overhaul, and it's not leading to anything. The one time they spent a lot of money and everybody got hurt, and now they're just sitting over there and beautiful arena. You get off the subway, you walk right up, you walk right into
It is
Barclay. It's
nice.
fantastic.
It is not.
It's
Barclays Center
easy,
is very
easy
nice.
to get to, but
Yep.
they're horrible. So anyway, that's the Vikings were they're our heroes again. Dang it, and that's good. But the public really wants to love this McCarthy kid, don't they?
Well, they're desperate, and I don't blame them to love a quarterback who they think might be here. You know,
Yes, yeah, that is
I
that
think
is
it's
the
more of
truth.
what he represents than who he actually is.
Clean cut young man, though.
Hmm.
So you go back and you do think about his second pathetic performance, which was terrible. He did have a baby on Thursday.
Well,
You
it's
know
very
that was Jacques Lemire wouldn't even played him.
well.
Jacques
That's what
Lemire
I
would.
so O'Connell has brought that up numerous. I can't. I've lost count. Okay, so
Yeah,
a week ago was it a week ago Wednesday? I was at the press conference, or anyway, I asked him a question about McCarthy, and he brought up and so Pat. It now turns out that because they played on Monday night, the Wednesday was a walkthrough. It wasn't a real practice, so they did all of the installation, as they say in
yeah,
football, on Thursday, which he missed. And O'Connell brought it up again, and so when he got done answering my question, I finally said, "Do you regret playing him?" I said, "You brought this up a lot. Do you regret
yeah.
playing him?" And he tried to say, "No, I don't," but clearly he did. Clearly
Hmm.
he felt because he missed the only practice that had substance. And I will say, from what McCarthy said about a month ago or so, too, safe to say the birth certificate for the rest of the McCarthy children will not be 9 months before the season was ongoing. We will
Yeah.
have planned pregnancies in that family from now on. I'm sure they'll have a lot of kids, God bless them,
Mm.
but you will not see another
Well,
kid born in
hey,
season.
marry the girl too. Come on, let's go here.
Oh well, I'm sure.
Let's
Yeah,
let's
they've been
marry the
together since
girl.
like high school or something. So I'm sure they will.
Let's marry the girl. Come on, let's
But
what the hell?
but yes, safe to say he will plan things out. He joked about that, but I don't think he was joking.
No, so we got the Vikings straightened out. Gophers got a great grand victory where Fleck went crazy after they stunk. They didn't score from what 9 minutes left in the first half to the end of the game, and they should have sent a game ball to the Michigan State kickers, or they should have sent a
Oh
game ball.
God, how about
What
that?
a bum! Not only does he miss a 24-yard field goal, another one, but then when they score, he kicks it out of bounds so they get it at the 35 and don't have to kill any time returning it. I wouldn't have let him back on the plane. I would have made him
Unbelievable.
hitchhike back to Minnesota. They're 0-6, and that coach is going to get fired too. I think he's only been there 2 years, Jonathan Smith. So remember
Yeah,
when remember when you feared Michigan State? They'd always had the best athletes, and they had this incredible collection. Now they were good about what 5 6 years ago, but
yes.
they're just a dog in the
Oh,
league
they're
now.
awful.
I don't know why.
They're
I don't
awful.
know what happened to them. So
But PJ's opening statement, which lasted a long time, did a marvelous job of deflecting any um, questions that might have come up about what the hell happened to your team.
oh really? Oh,
Yeah,
for those 2.5 quarters, or what was wrong with them? I do like the quarterback. I think
I
he's
do.
got a good arm, but he's had a couple of bad games in a row. But he's an athlete. He's a big, strong guy. They better get the checkbook out. I mean,
That's what I said.
what is what is the number one thing in big time college football right now? Quarterback free agency. It's just like the NFL. You always want to get the quarterback, but in the NFL you can keep him for 5 years.
Right.
These guys you can keep for 4 quarters. Supposedly,
Yeah.
now haven't some of them though signed contracts and then busted them, and nobody's figured out what to do about that? The college commits
Somebody
itself
did.
to like, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody did a couple of years ago. There was but I mean, the incredible thing here is it's like if NFL players, stars especially, became free agents after every season.
After every season, yes, it's you look at the top 20 teams in college football, 16 of them have quarterbacks who didn't start there. They came from some other place. Then, of course, the killer has Diego Pavia, who he brought from Michigan State, who's in year 6. And the way I read it, if the junior college leagues years don't count, he can have another year. He can be 7. I don't.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it is. I saw a big debate, by the way, going on the internets because the World Series ratings were good. They had a 15 for the final or something, which is as good as the worst team in the NFL playing the second worst team in the NFL. But uh, the baseball is clearly the number 2 sport in America. It's past the NBA. Blah blah blah. People got very offended by that on Twitter, and many of them were saying college football is the second most popular. Are you nuts? College football is popular in 12 cities. It's not. They got 1,000 games on Saturday, and 90% of them get a 1.5 point share. And so it's just because there's a lot of them doesn't make it the second most popular sport in America. I don't know what it is, but it's not college football.
So we're trying to say that baseball is past the NBA
That's what a lot of the Twitter stuff was saying because the ratings were much higher than the NBA finals. But that's what people
ratings.
don't take into account. Yeah, that's not the ratings.
Ratings.
It's the NBA's popularity is kids
Yeah.
15 and under,
Yes.
watching videos, watching
Yeah.
hits, watching
Amen.
every time somebody dunks, they're all why that's it's a you know agreed. How many sit down? If you sit down to watch a Viking game, I mean a Wolves game,
Yeah.
how of those 48 minutes, how many do you actually watch without changing channels and going looking for something else and coming back 10 minutes later? The only time I ever watch an entire NBA game is if I'm there. That's the only
Do
time I
your
watch it.
do your grandkids even watch full games of
No.
anything? Like, I think you're right. I think they go look for highlights. I think they look for and like, if you were to take, I just think this is funny, because if you were to give, a 22-year-old a list of baseball players' names and NBA players' names,
Yes.
there's no competition about which one they're going to get more
No.
of.
No.
You
That
know,
is true. That is true. But my grandson, 15-year-old Luke, is very interested on Sundays because he's getting two fantasy leagues. So, he's playing,
yeah,
but that's all he cares. You know, he'd like to see the Vikings win, but he cares much more whether Lamar Jackson scored a touchdown or not. That's
yeah.
they're monitoring. He's looking at his phone all the time to see how his fantasy team is doing, and I don't think I don't think we have a society of young teens who live and die with the Vikings like their parents and their grandparents do. I think they can get over it in about 10 minutes
But I
and
mean,
just play fantasy.
that sport, or that league is by far and away the most popular. But I
Oh
love the
yes,
baseball fans now trying to claim that, they've climbed the NBA. No, you haven't.
a lot of these
And
people
I
were
love
based.
baseball.
A lot of the things I saw on Twitter were, like not from these allegedly objective media type people. Well, one great World Series rate. I mean, they had start of the World Series, they were getting eighths or something,
Yeah,
right, like that. And plus, you got Los Angeles. Los Angeles is a big
yeah.
city. There's a lot of people in Los Angeles, and that team draws 4 million a year, and people watch the Dodgers. There's no doubt about it.
And if you're
But it
going,
was
and if you're going to give people a game seven,
yes,
every sport that you get a game seven in relative to its ordinary ratings, that rating is fantastic,
oh yeah, that's
including
true.
hockey.
Yeah, that is true. And here's the other thing. It is interesting how somebody was asking, doesn't baseball like Sundays anymore? They used to, both the Twins' seventh games were played on Sunday.
That's right.
It was always, you always wanted weekends in the past. Now they don't want weekends. They want more. This way, by playing it the way they do now, they get 4 weekdays instead of, 4 week, I mean, 4 weekend
Yeah.
night games. So, because they're going to, I don't think they want the embarrassment of having a seventh game of the World Series head to head with a mediocre NFL game and getting beat, So,
Right. Right. Yeah.
but ratings again, as you point out, are just not what they used to be anyway. They just doesn't mean anything as far as what people are passionate about or not. The NFL will always have the advantage of playing once a week.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
yeah. The other guys are playing. Baseball. The best thing baseball could do, I think I said this the other day, is go for is drop a week off the schedule, go to 154 or something instead of 162.
Amen.
Forget it. Keep your pitchers fresher for the postseason.
Yep.
They get it. Just get rid of 8 games. It's ridiculous. End in September 20th or something, so you don't have to play into November, for goodness sakes. So
Yes.
I
Yes.
mean that's
Always avoid November.
the Dodgers. The Dodgers don't want to give up 4 home dates. Well, tough bananas. You're spending. So what do you think the solution's going to be? The lockout. What do you think? I'm thinking it's not going to be hard salary cap.
No.
It's going to be aprons, just
Correct.
like I think they're
The
going to
NBA.
steal. They're going to steal the NBA
Yes.
program of okay, you spend this much, you can't sign any free agents. You spend this much,
Yep.
you're not you can't sign international players. You can't. and you spend this much, you can't sign. You don't get a choice in the first 5 rounds of the draft.
Yep.
That's what it's going to end up being, I think. Don't
I
you?
I think there's going to be. I think the fight between the league and the player association will be enormous,
It'll be bloody.
but but I think the fight within is going to be
Oh
big
yes,
too. Because I think you're right. There's no way they are not going to a hard cap. But aprons and like you just said restrictions. So you tell the Dodgers, okay, you can exceed this, but
Mhm.
but now free agency you can't participate like things like that. I think you're exactly right.
Yeah.
Um
You
but
can no longer. You can't sign the next Japanese phenom. You
Right.
know.
Well, and like you've said before too, you cannot defer this much money to a player. It's
No.
ridiculous.
Yes. Yes, it is. Uh, but I wonder. Apparently, any advertising deals the Dodgers have that covers Otani in Japan, baseball don't get a piece of that either. That doesn't get a, you know, the
Right.
what the Dodgers must have their own thing. Here, I heard this by the way from Bowden. Now Bowden's been known to BS to say the least. That's his strongest asset. But it was Sunday morning. I was in the car and listening to MLB Network, and he was saying that, what do the Dodgers have to do now to improve this team? And everybody's been saying, well, they're going to get Kyle Tucker to play in the outfield. So the number one free agent out there,
R-
that'd be another 250 million or something.
right.
But to play right field, but they also need a third baseman. And he mentioned the possibility of Bichette being signed for the Dodgers to play third base for them. So let's say Toronto apparently can't afford, because they gave Glad all that money, can't afford to sign Bichette for 250 or whatever he's going to get.
hmm
So between the two of them, they're going to add another 700 million if they were to do that. I mean, if they're basically waving the red blanket in front of the bull there, aren't they? By going and spending more money this offseason.
But
But
that but this is what I think you told us this story on Unchained a couple of weeks ago. Someone what in the league or in the know told you, I hope the Dodgers continue to win the World
yes,
Series because this will actually further the argument for
yes,
aprons and things like that.
I,
So
I,
in some ways if they do this, it's almost working to show the glaring, deficiency that exists within the structure of the game.
it is interesting though that that we just had a World Series in which the anti-Dodger national sentiment is such. Everybody wanted Canada to win,
Yeah.
including me. Everybody wanted the Blue Jays to win,
Yeah, who have the
even
fifth
though,
highest payroll too. That's the funniest thing. It's like the
yes,
poor
yeah,
little Blue Jays. I hope they.
yeah. Well, the other thing I was thinking, they were a number one seed. The Dodgers were a 3 seed, right? They're 3 seed. They had the third best record. You know what's interesting though? Milwaukee had this fabulous season, 97 wins, somehow, almost miraculously, and they were a complete mismatch against the Dodgers. They had no chance
hmm
because the Dodgers have this starting rotation that's like an old time Cleveland Indians from 1954 rotation. They got four of them. And what's the total tariff for that? They kept showing it on the. It's $1 billion, I think, for the four starters, right?
Oh
I
God,
mean,
yeah.
I mean, and Blake Snell isn't what he used to be, but he's still a crafty left-hander. And they gave him 230 million at age 32 or something
And
like that.
Yamamoto is
Oh,
paid.
he's the real deal. He's and
He
he's
is,
a
but I mean, he's paid accordingly.
oh yeah, 330. I think he got 330. They got. I don't know how much they gave that Sasaki as a reliever or something, but they got two guys, two Japanese guys worth over $1 billion for two Japanese guys. So I
Yeah,
don't. I was
yeah.
glad to see Shohei had to get knocked out, and then actually did was not the hero of the
Nope.
game, but you know he is a specimen. I'll say that, man alive. He's
Oh,
the
it's
other
incredible. Yeah.
and having him still pitch, that's marketing. That's what that is. That's marketing, having him still pitch, right?
And finding a way that if he's the starter and is removed, he doesn't have to be
Yes,
removed
yes.
from the lineup
Yeah, that's
is
my
actually
bet.
a sneaky genius play. But I love how
Well,
baseball's like, that's
Major League
fine.
Baseball signed off on it.
Would Babe Ruth have
How
continued to
about
pitch? Would
how
Babe Ruth
about
have continued
this?
to pitch? That's my
Yes,
question.
yeah. And how about this? Can they say to the Dodgers, Major League Baseball, if you don't start, acting like human beings here in payroll wise and agree to some kind of a cap, we're not going to let Otani pitch and hit in the same game. We're gonna change that rule back to what it used to be, and he can't stay in the game if he leaves.
I don't think they
He's
do it though because the fans want to see Otani. I
I
think what
know they don't, but he's
uh,
mentioned twice
yeah.
on the lineup card. He's mentioned twice on the
Yeah.
lineup card.
They just changed the rule too, very quietly.
Yeah, they
That's just
changed
they
it
just
for him,
changed it. They're like,
just
screw
for
it.
him, just
I
for
know.
him.
I
And
know.
they also they changed three rules for him. That one,
Yep.
they changed the fact that they could defer 25 or 30 million a
Yep.
year from the
Yep.
thing, and they changed the rule of how hard they're going to investigate gambling accusations.
You
They,
know who
they
should be
changed
pissed
that.
off?
They
Babe Ruth
changed.
and Shoeless Joe.
Yes, they changed that rule. They changed that rule because can you get yourself? They told Shohei, can you get yourself a fall guy so we don't have to investigate
They
this? So that guy's what's he got, about four more years left in jail, and then he's going to own his own island somewhere. So
they should have told Shoeless Joe, we're gonna get all of
yes,
your teammates. You're fine.
no, you're fine, Shoeless Joe.
Shoeless, you're
Yeah,
fine. Just
yes,
keep hitting 406 or
yes.
410 or whatever the
Uh,
hell he hit.
that's right. So I will say the commissioner of baseball had actually that was the start of Kennesaw Landis, right? The Black Sox scandal. That's why they
Yes.
got. That's why they gave him make somebody an all-powerful commissioner way back 1,000 years ago. So
Yes. Hey,
meanwhile, we
before
get Derek Shelton today.
are you going?
Yeah, I'm going, but are you gonna make her?
I'm gonna try and make it out there. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I can't
I
wait to see my friends with the twins.
I'm trying to think of when I would go look back through managerial history. I think there was a time when who the manager was extremely important in baseball because you didn't have 50, 60 people running around with computers. And when Tom Kelly managed, he had a coaching staff of four and he made the decision and nobody came in with a computer. He told me yesterday he didn't have a computer. They didn't in 1991, they still didn't have a computer. He just did everything,
Do you know
and
who would be fun to call now? Unfortunately, he's passed. Good old Frank Quillisi.
oh yeah, he'd be the Q man. Yeah, the Q man. Q man's coaching staff. His 1 year there was they reduced it to three to save money. He had three coaches. Buck Rogers was bullpen coach and pitching coach. Except they didn't
Unbelievable.
have a bullpen coach. They had somebody else out there warming them up.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, they had three coaches. Vern Morgan, who had bad health, he had a blood disease, and Ralph Rowe, who was as old as me now. And so Frank Willis and Bob Rogers' number one job was throwing batting practice on the road. They didn't have a road batting practice pitcher either. So
I
he
uh,
did.
I I saw a factoid a couple of days ago that I believe that the Butera just hired by the Washington
Yes,
Nationals is the youngest. He's 33. He is the youngest manager to be hired since
since Frank.
Quillisi.
Yeah, he's 5 months younger. He's 5 months older than Frank was. I looked it up. And Frank, of course, there was a very good reason that Calvin hired Frank. He fired Rigney because attendance was going to hell because they were still mad about Billy getting fired. But, then in
Yep.
70, they were great. In 71, they were hanging in there. And he said, I guess the fans want an Italian. was the reason he hired Frank, basically. Boy, I miss Calvin. He
Oh,
was,
Calvin.
man.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Calvin
How,
would be
how,
Calvin would be
how would he
canceled
do
now
in
instantly.
how would he do in modern communications or
Well,
something?
we saw it. His statue's gone, Pat. His statue's no longer out front of Target Field. That's how he would do.
Someday I should sit down and try to do uh, a column on Twitter. What Twitter would have been with Calvin.
That's a great.
Yeah, Twitter. Calvin's Twitter account, and then the exchanges with the people would have been fantastic.
That is a great idea. Or do a breakdown of who would have in the age of Twitter, who from the old school would have survived.
Oh yeah, yeah. It would have been. Well, you know, it would have been. You know, Calvin was politically incorrect before politically incorrect
Yes.
existed. There wasn't even such a thing, but we knew it wasn't good.
Yes.
Whatever. Yes, whatever it was. So
Amen.
anyway, you gonna buy a car today? You're gonna go out and get a car?
Well, I could use one, so tell me about
Jim
it.
Paul and Brett Paul's Valley Group of GM dealers. I was out there last week getting a little doctor's appointment for my Cascada. They made a nice fix on it. It's now up to 68,000 miles. I'm trying to shoot for 100. With Valley Group's help, I think I'll make it. But tremendous stock inventory of vehicles right out there in the lot. You can make a deal and pick the car up tomorrow. The SUVs, tremendous number of SUVs, um, for the various Buick varieties of SUVs, 3 or 4 varieties. They got them in all shapes and sizes. Jim Paul and Brett Paul Valley Group of GM dealers, low interest rates, high factory rebates, a lot of inventory. What are you waiting for? Go straight out Cedar Avenue, 147th. Take a right. There you are, Valley Group of GM dealers.
Talk to you on Wednesday,
All
Patrick.
right. See you. I hope to see you this afternoon, maybe.
All right.
See
Talk
ya.
to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.